if you go along with artificial intelligence, you're devolving away from your divine, eternal consciousness of genius, of source, of wisdom, which is infinite intelligence and can continue to expand, evolve, manifest into reality. It's Nana Marie in Quebec City. I'm in a great deal of pain, and I am confident artificial intelligence has an answer for me as to why. But I'm going into myself for my answers. I was just listening to the Jeff Mara podcast, and there was a very charming gentleman on that I was guided to watch. And on first appearances, I really, really like him. Really like him a lot. He reminds me of me, you know. But he said some things that I started to wonder about. And then it came, the consciousness of Gaia. The consciousness of Gaia is the new trap, the New Age trap, the Abraham trap again, if you will, where our consciousness is controlled, which means our thinking is controlled. The guy said, that when he was giving the historic account to Gaia, and he was talking about Colorado and the national forest and portals and how capable we are of so much more than what we get here. And I'm reminded of all the recent activity in Colorado, of demonic activity, really. If you look up the Chris Watts story, Watts, which is a made-up story, if I ever heard one, got to do with Watts and oil rigs. Stories are coming out of Colorado. Ghost stories, creature stories, portal stories, ghost stories, missing people stories, galore coming out of Colorado and other places. But I'm going to bring you back to what Gaia, the historic account this guy was telling the viewers, is that they decided to control the mass consciousness. And it was decided that men would be the leader. And then he brushed over it. But he's giving some kind of a historical account to Gaia and how they came to make decisions about mass consciousness. And they are creating a mass consciousness. And we are responding to their mass consciousness. I remember in the 80s when um, the Esther, whatever her name is, Hicks, and the Abraham stories, they're titillating, if you will. But I remember being repulsed in the 80s by it and being unable to read it any further. And I'm like that. I've always been a little off, if you will, with the crowd. I don't like popular music. I don't like popular movies. I don't like popular subjects. I don't like popular spirituality. I like people's stories, their own story, the one that connects them to our divine, not to the mass consciousness of Abraham, which, by the way, started in the book of Torah, which is the Old Testament. There's a lot of mysticism in that book, a lot of things to conjure up in your imagination that I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I wouldn't entrap God like that into words. The other thing the guy said that had me go, huh, was he was talking about the 3 light languages that, he channeled into. Light languages. Not one of his languages included feelings, emotions, telepathy. You see, we are telepathic. We don't need to gather any more intel. We don't need to learn any more languages to confuse us. We are. I am. And to entrap our consciousness to the ways of a popular culture because it is popular is a huge mistake. And it will keep people's minds thinking the same. And this is the devolution. It is not evolution of your own consciousness of Christ. You see, babies are born with emotion. It's beyond energy. It's the vibration of emotion that carries us. And our emotions are love, pure love. You know that in every infant. The evidence is clear. The love leaves the body and the mind the more it engages in popular cultures. It separates from its own source of wisdom. And so I'm going through something very terrible here. The pain is beyond what I can describe to you, my friends. It's really bad. And I was confused and am confused as to why I am suffering in this dwelling so much that I want out. I don't want any part of this anymore. That I see no point or value into my little voice here when the voice of Gaia is so big now. They even took over the Bible. The Bible has changed. Yeah, I'm 65. I know when Bibles change. And they've added saints to the names of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Saint is a satanic word, or it gives an idol to an idle man. And to worship and idolize other men is to deny your own divine consciousness. Or you're just falling into somebody else's loop, somebody else's consciousness, because you believe in the popular consciousness. It's written and it's historic. But is it? When I see, even in my little 65 years, when I look at the big picture, this is just 65 little years here. The consciousness of Satan rules the earth, and people are falling for it time and time again because they refuse their own Christ within, their love within. They won't express love, not to me. They express kindness and smiles, but as soon as you disagree with their level of consciousness and where they're going, and you don't want to go there, they will drop you, and they will have a contempt for you that you will feel because you are telepathic. I am telepathic. I feel all judgment. I feel the wrath of the religious. I feel the contempt from Gaia for all those who do not conform to the consciousness they are trying to form. They're very charming. They look like us, but they are not of us. When their hearts are hardened into a source of artificial intelligence that is limited, it's conclusive, it's scientific, and it closes off any future evolution whatsoever, where you can expect to stay in a consciousness of slavery to debt, to sex, to relationships, to the dependency on your saints, your idols, the men you watch on television to show you how to live, or the men who teach you at university to tell you how the world works so that you don't go out and discover it yourself. No, you don't go and research Ephesus, Turkey, or Egypt, or Greece, like I did. No, you don't. You conjure up books that somebody else read or wrote, and you read about it. And then you think you know about it. But the mass formation of thought all have to get along. If you're going to be published, if you're going to go anywhere, it has to get along with everybody. And I can't. I won't. I rebuke the mass formation of the Book of Torah, the Old Testament, Abraham Hicks, Gaia, and the entrapment of our consciousness to all think the same as part of a culture, as part of a good thing, to belong. You want to belong, and so you're going to want to belong. What happened to me in 2016 was I was gifted with a visit from my deceased son and beings of light. And these beings of light downloaded the history, the true history of time, which started the year of our Lord at 0 and began forward to 2024 today. And they've manipulated time and time again. They've been shifting around people and confusing people about where they come from, who they belong to, who their original tribe was. It's all so confusing now that the reason why they came to me, I imagine, is I had no preconceived ideas. At the time Trevor died, and between then and my spiritual encounters and my entrance into clinical hypnotherapy and healing depression and anxiety, and how time and time again I tried to help people get out of their thinking, get out of their regular traditional thinking, erase what they think they know, and tap into your source of love, where you're actually able to express it and give from your heart to others. You're not afraid to express your love for others. You don't promise a God's love for others. You give your love to others. This is your divine connection to real source. And since 2016, I've been trying, guys. I've been really just a human behavior watcher, and I'm shocked. I'm shocked at what people are capable of doing in mass formation of thought, where they're not thinking for themselves or divinely. They're thinking for a mass consciousness that pre-existed. And so it's easy to believe what you read in the Bibles, in the learning textbooks. Yes, it's easy, especially if your parents are encouraging it. right? What else are you going to do? Well, that's what this message is all about. That's what my walk has been all about. It's about individuals connecting to their own source of energy, of love. And it has to feel like love, to be love. It can't feel like an authority. It can't feel like a rule. It can't feel like a law, or it concludes and it is not divine. Divine is infinite and eternal and can go in any direction at any time. There is no time. I noticed in my pain. I lay here for sometimes 5 hours before I can move my body over. My back hurts so much because of my heart, they say. My heart failure is causing all this pain, they say. And they have a solution for me. One way out. And I can't tap into Gaia or any other cult to get them to help me. They want me to take artificial intelligence and supplements and chemistry and answers to something there is no answer they have for me and couldn't possibly have. You can't have the answer for others. We're all on a different level of consciousness. But if you were doing a graph or a bell curve or something, you would see the majority are all thinking the same way. In one way or the other, it's about worship, rituals, admiring idol stars, getting in with the groove, doing what the popular people do, making things look good, even if they're rotting inside out, even if they're suffering inside out. They will not tell you because that breaks their image. That makes them vulnerable to your answers they don't want. I encourage anybody to get the New Holy Bible, to look at it and see the symbology written all over it now with the saints. And if you look at the Old Testament and the last page and the last 6 words about putting a curse in the word, and that curse in the word has been done. Once the word is twisted, the meaning is twisted. Do you understand? Like, I'll give you an example. Everybody was encouraged to support war by thanking their sons for their service. Now, you wouldn't not want to thank someone for their service, would you? That'll get you in trouble. Make sure You shout out, thank you for your service. And that's how the media gathers recruits. And the more recruits they can gather, the more consciousness they can gather, and the more pain I feel, and the more doomed I feel.